All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live for the Holland Christian Hamilton dual night. Tonight is senior night for Holland Christian. So we're going to turn it over. Hopefully you can hear Coach Todd Smingy. I think he's going to introduce each of his seniors and talk about their parents and a little bit about their history with the team. So hopefully you'll be able to hear that, and then we will be back live once the swimming and diving action starts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is an odd season. It seems like we just started, and we did. Yet, this is our senior night, and I am really excited for these seniors. They gave up a lot last year, having the state meet taken away, and so it was so great to be able to get the season started. And just excited for this night for those guys. So our first senior is Joe. Grassman and his mom and dad, Jeff and Jamie Grassman. Some of Joey's accomplishments are four-time state qualifier, all-state, all-conference athlete. And Joey's advice to the underclassmen is not to forget that every night is Todd's State night. Joey plans to continue his education and swimming right here in town at Hope College, studying business and economics. Joey Grassman. Our next senior, Aiden Howley, and his parents are Stacey Howley. Aiden says his major accomplishment is just getting through freshman year as a first-time swimmer, and honestly, getting through all 4 years. Well done, Aiden. I remember Aiden barely made his Bisbee that first year, and he's doing great. His advice to some of the freshmen: don't sit at the wall during sets. You'll get cracked. Aiden is going to continue working as a welder, underwater welding, which is great news for me because we're going to do a lot of work. Next senior is Colin Kaufman and his parents, James and Beth Kaufman. Some of Colin's accomplishments: qualifying for state all 4 years. Sophomore performance at the state meeting he's really proud of, and winning state as a team 2 years in a row. Colin remembers the feeling of getting best times and all the people that trained with him. Those are some of the things that he will take with him as he continues on. Colin's going to pursue pre-med medicine. He's not sure where yet, but looking at some colleges in the area and continuing his swimming career. Colin Kaufman. Our next senior is Daniel Cohen and his parents, Tim and Kim Cohen. Some of Daniel's accomplishments include state qualifying in 100 fly his junior and senior years, finishing top 8 at conference. Daniel remembers at the sophomore year at his conference meet, Jake Pearson running up to him, yelling that I needed to get to my relay right now. I can hear Jake do that too. He said, I thought I was done for the day, but luckily, still had my goggles with me, and ran as fast as I could to the starting block, climbed up, and without stopping, jump up as a third leg of his relay. And he got it done. Daniel continues to study, he plans to continue to study engineering, either at Capital University or University of Michigan. Daniel Cohen. And our final senior, Corbin Vanderbrink. Parents are Henry. Corbin is proud of being able to score at our conference meet. His advice is, underclassmen, don't play blackjack against Todd. We can't win. We'll always end up in a hard set. Reminds me, we got to do that. Corbin is going to Hope College to study economics. Corbin Vandenberg. I just want to say a quick thank you to these seniors and to their parents for all of the commitment that they've made to this program, to the hard work that they put in the water, and behind the scenes as just really supportive parents. Thank you so much for the privilege of being able to coach your boys. I really love doing it, and look forward to seeing how God moves them in the future.
Good evening and welcome to the Holland Park Center and tonight's senior meet between the Holland Christian Maroons and the Hawkeyes from Hamilton. Would you please rise and gentlemen remove your votes for the playing of our national anthem.
All right, folks, we are live for tonight's meet, host senior night. My name is Ben Herman. Co-host here is Matt Ray.
Good evening.
And we're excited to bring you tonight's meet versus Hamilton and Holland Christian. Just introducing the coaches for Holland Christian. It is Todd Smingy. His assistant coach is James Kalkman, and diving coach is Ariel Talsma. Matt, you want to talk about Hamilton?
Sure. Hamilton is coached by Eric Talsma. This is his, oh boy, I couldn't even, 13th, 14th year?
I think so. Only coach the program's had.
That's right. His assistant coach down there, Matt Onk, and their longtime diving coach, Steve Vandeweg.
All right, and our first event tonight is the medley relay. As always, a lot of differences with COVID. The swimmers are going to be on the same side of the pool as their teams instead of intermixed. So Holland Christian looks like they're in 2, 3, and 4, and Hamilton is in 5, 6, and 7.
Should be a great one, Ben. We have Holland Christian coming into the meet ranked second in the state right now in the medley relay. Hamilton is third, only .23 behind Holland Christian.
Yeah. Yeah, and usually these programs face each other early in the year, but this is their first contest, so it'll be interesting to see what comes about from it.
Absolutely. We have one common opponent so far in Spring Lake. Hamilton and Holland Christian both defeated Spring Lake. Hamilton got through rather comfortably. Holland Christian a little bit closer, that 93-90 victory. So it's going to be a good one, Ben.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Second to last dual meet for each of these teams. Getting close to conference and state, so it's go time here. All right, and backstrokers are off for the 200 medley relay. For Holland Christian, you've got Colin Kalkman for their A. They're in lane 4. And Hamilton's A is right next to him, so it looks like Kalkman flips just ahead of Hamilton.
It's Isaac Beatty there swimming for Hamilton.
All right, and it's, one of the things to watch all tonight is going to be the B relay, so out there in lanes 3 and 6. Whichever one of those can score is going to be big for a close meet. So Kalkman's in first with 25.65 for that split to 26.38. And breaststroker's in the water, so it's Jackson Horges for Holland Christian.
Fouled up by Hamilton's Blake Thomas.
And those Bs are touching almost at the same time. Looks like Holland Christian has a slight edge with David Bursma there, but that is going to be close. So Holland Christian's in at 54.39 at the 100 mark to 55.32. Out split, or real close split actually. We're about 0.2 off there.
You mentioned those B relays, Ben. Looks like Hamilton had a slight advantage there in the breaststroke leg. Now we'll see what Elliot Talsma can do to hang on to that.
Yeah, looks like he came off that wall strong. Yep. Holland Christian 100th ahead at the last exchange. And now it is Christian Hooksma on the end for Holland Christian. Close touch there. It looks like Hamilton's B has the edge going into that last turn. And this is going to be close, folks. Oh, and Hamilton pulls it out by 400. Wow, outsplit on the end by just a slight amount. Wow, that is a big first get for Hamilton.
Ben, you mentioned towards the beginning here, we'll look out for those B relays really making the difference, and I think that depth, is kind of the name of the game in a lot of events today. You'd say on paper Holland Christian is perhaps a bit more top-heavy in their talent, and Hamilton is winning meets with their depth, and so great combination for a meet, and it looks like we're already pulling some surprises after the first event.
Yeah, that is a nice time for those relays. It looks like just both of them just off their season bests, and a nice time for their Bs as well. And 200 freestyle is off for Holland Christian. Got Joey Grassman in the center as their A swimmer. His best time's a 1:47.25. And Teddy Hollebeek and David Bursma out there for their B and Cs. And it looks like Bursma and Stutler in the middle are out after it for their first 50. Joey touches in a 24.21 to 24.83. It looks like for second across the pool, you got Ethan Klingenberg there at 28.65, or for third, sorry, it's Ethan Klingenberg, right across from Hollebeek and Bursma. So again, it's going to be some of that depth in there. 3, 4, and 5 swimmers that's going to play a big piece here. Well, at the 100 mark, Grassman's in at 51.37 to 52.40. Solid first hundreds for those swimmers. And for 34th, Hollebeek and, it's actually McIntyre for Hamilton are right neck and neck there. Grassman looks to be out to a comfortable lead over Stutler. I think his best time is a little ahead of Heath's.
Yeah, I've got Grassman 144 obviously all time, the 2019 state meet. Unfortunately, these boys didn't get to compete last year.
Yep.
But his 147 is second in Division III right now, so obviously one of the contenders going into March.
For sure, and that's under a short season too. I mean, they've only been swimming since a little bit after Christmas break. And he comes into the wall at a 148.00, just off that time, 28.65 in the end. And Heath is second with a 151.34.
Nice time for the Hamilton boy. We've got a seed time of 156, but his best is 149. So good to see him getting close to those PRs.
Down there. And for third, again, McIntyre is 201.10, and Klingenberg is 5th. So getting that depth coming in. Teddy Hollebeek for Holland Christian finishes 4th in a 201.74. That's a best time for Teddy by about a second, and Bursma is 6th with a 2:10.24.
Not sure if the cameras picked it up, but Carson McIntyre definitely pumped after that race. You can feel the competitive spirit going right now.
Hamilton's off to the start I think they wanted.
Absolutely.
All right, next up is the 200 individual medley. For Holland Christian, that's got Christian Hooksman in the middle with Daniel Koning and Ryan Windemuller.
This is going to be a big race for Daniel Koning on senior night to break up some of that Hamilton depth there. Hooksma is I think, by a big margin the favorite in this race, but those Hamilton boys will be coming up right behind him.
Yep, and that's one of Coach Talsma's sons there in lane 6.
Ben, I'm pretty sure we taught him how to swim.
I think we did. We saw him when he was much smaller than he is now, wandering around the pool deck before he was actually even going to a legit practice. And he is out.
Talsma taking advantage of that fly specialty of his.
Yep. Isaac Beatty's finally overcoming a little bit, but even ahead of Hooksma. Now, Hooksma is a breaststroker, so it does make sense that he is kind of even with Beatty right now. This next 50 should prove to be Hooksma's key in this race. But again, you look out there in lane 7, Thomas is coming in there close to being in 5th. That's going to be a big race between he and Windemuller on that far side. And this is where Christian Hooksma starts to take off. He's already state qualifier in the breaststroke, was as a freshman, and you can see him just building a lead there.
Yeah. Hooksma, he finished 4th last year in the OK Green. He's the second fastest returner, but the only person who is ahead of him currently is his teammate Colin Kalkman. So depending on how entries line up, he could be the favorite.
And here's Talsma. Looks like he is a solid 3rd right now, and Thomas out there for Hamilton is going to be fighting against Daniel Koning. So we'll see if Koning can come on for his senior night here. This last 25 between those two is going to be close.
Different approach in freestyles for the two of them. Should be interesting to see who gets there first.
Yeah. And Hooksma touches in a 2:10.79. Second is Beatty with a 2:14.79. Talsma, and it looks like, Koning did get in there by 0.06 of a second, got 4th. But Thomas still scores in 5th. And Ryan Windemuller is 6th with a 2:25.95. So again, that depth for Hamilton.
That race for 4th could be one of the deciding factors here at the end.
Yeah, 6/100th deciding 1 point there. That could be big come the 400 freestyle relay. Looks like we've got 2 heats of the 50. So the first heat of the 50 is an exhibition heat.
Ben, we're seeing a lot of freshmen featured, not all, but a lot of freshmen featured in this first heat. If you look at both teams across the board, those freshmen from either team, they're getting better and better each race and each meet. So I think it's a testament to both of these coaching staffs to develop those younger guys, get them excited about racing.
Yeah, and for, again, just a short season. Normally these guys would have started well before Christmas break, around Thanksgiving, and they're doing well. So that's Clausen taking the exhibition heat in a 26:23. Yep, and there's a couple best times there for those Holland Christian guys as well, for Steelstra, Bursma, and Van Heitzma, actually. Significant drop for Bursma, so that's cool.
All right, this one's going to be fun, Ben.
This one is going to be close. You got Blake Ossing for Holland Christian in the middle there, next to Boom for Hamilton. And their times are within a couple tenths, I believe.
If our viewers remember back, Zach was the hero of that medley for Hamilton.
Oh, on the end of that one, yeah. Let's see if he can do it again. Looks like he's off to a solid start. Oh, tight across that first three. Looks like Ossing has a little longer on the water. We'll see what happens here. But Nybor and Boom to be out.
And Ossing just grabs one.
Oh, and that's Blake, 23-11 coming in there. But Hamilton goes 2-3, and then Horges and Vandenbrink are in there for 4th and 5th. So not some of their best times in there per se, but definitely a barn burner of a race. So it'll be interesting to see where scores are at once we start the diving break here.
And that's kind of what you more expect mid-February, right, Ben? I mean, we're in the dog days of training, and those best times aren't really a factor. It's more just about that pure racing, and it doesn't get more pure than that 50 freestyle just there.
No. And especially Blake coming off a little behind in the start in that turn and just hooking water. But that's, I think, both of these programs, Hamilton especially, they get down and race this time of season. So.
And they love to sprint.
They do. They
Strap
do
a bucket
love
to me, Coach.
to sprint. For those of us who know what life is like down in Hamilton, they have all sorts of resistance devices and bands, and that is a hallmark of Talsma.
Well, folks, at the diving break here, it's as close as expected. Hamilton is up 33-29 over the Holland Christian Maroons. As we look at diving here, the clear favorite's got to be the Hamilton, not only top end but depth as well against the Holland Christian athletes. But we also have some talent on the Holland Christian side too, right?
Yeah, Sam Nykamp, the junior, is up there. His top is a 237.30 from this year. He's a state qualifier. And has placed at state, so he will definitely be a good competition for Ethan Shelton. But I believe, what are the top two scores for Hamilton's divers so far?
So Ethan Shelton here has a top score of 271.45, and that is good enough tonight for second in Division III. And then Jeremy Matthews, the sophomore, at 229.25. And I'm going to mention Quentin Byer as well, the junior, simply, that 202. Anytime you're north of 200, you've got a shot in any meet, and Hamilton's got 3 of them. Yeah,
getting 3 above 200 is a big deal, especially for a Division III team. I think that's key in a lot of these dual meets.
Ben, as we watch the divers warm up, is there anything you're excited to see in the second half?
Oh, man. Obviously, it's looking like that 400 freestyle relay is going to be really fun at the end. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how some of the events like the 100 and the 500 play out. I mean, just looking at some of their lineups, those look like some places where it's going to be close in the middle, similar to that 50, and that's where Holland Christian really needs to gain ground. But those B relays are going to be key too. I think the 200 freestyle B relay, that's going to be a big deal when we're talking slight margins of points. What about you?
I agree. Yeah, no, I think there's not a whole lot more to be said about it. But if anything, from the first half we saw, based on the medley, based on a little bit of the depth happening in the 200 free, we're just going to be racing. I think we have plenty of seed times here that we can just throw out the window, because not only do we have a countless number of athletes at this meet who have performed well above their seed times up until this season. But some of them we're looking at the lack of the D3 invite for this is really, really interesting to me. Usually they get to see each other, they get to race each other. Obviously, that didn't happen this year. And so now to have really only one common opponent, it's really, it's anyone's guess at this point, and especially given last year at the OK Green meet, Howland Christian was locked in that battle with Zeeland for first place, and based on a lot of the results, it looked like Hamilton was looking forward to the state meet, and so
For sure.
a lot of their training, a lot of their taper, they're probably going to train through OK Green a little bit more. And so at a meet where we should be seeing a lot of really, really competitive times, Hamilton hung in there and had a very strong third place finish, but we never got to see fully rested, all guns blazing Hamilton last year. And so I'm really excited to see what they can pull out, not only today, but when it comes down to the OK Green meet in 2 weeks, and obviously the big dance coming March.
Yeah, and that's coming up here quick. Can you, thinking back to your coaching days, can you imagine coaching in a calendar year like this? The boys' state meet last year got canceled literally the day that teams are traveling over. And some seniors never got to have a state meet. And then this year with all the delays, luckily it looks like boys is going to go off a little smoother than girls. But, can you imagine what some of these coaches and athletes have been through?
No, not really.
The
logistics behind every single practice, let alone
Yes.
Invitations, dual meets, the bigger state meets and conference meets. It's really a testament not only to coaches and the teams, the athletes being responsible for their social surroundings and how they take care of themselves, but for the meet hosts, the spectators, and their understanding, whether they're in person or watching on a live stream. There's just so much that goes into it that it really, really speaks to, it speaks to the competitive spirit, and I think I speak for everyone when we just say we're excited to be racing, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're just excited to be in the pool, and knowing how quickly that can be taken away. Are just grateful to be able to race. But I think it is, like, when you mention every little thing, I was talking to our football coach at Howland Christian, just asking him about the fall, and he said it was exhausting because you don't realize how many tiny decisions you make on a daily basis that you used to take for granted, and now you have to think through. And I think they've all felt that.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, at least from the big zoomed out picture, they've pulled it off incredibly well.
Yeah.
Meets have gone on without a hitch, and there have been, to my knowledge, at least in our area, no real big panics or concerns about competing in person. So
Yeah.
really, really promising to see the end of the year here, and to let them finally see who the top in Division III are at the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at you had the rankings there. Do you know who else falls in those rankings around Hamilton and Howland Christian as they're looking towards the end of the season?
Sure. We start with Spring Lake being 8th in Division III right now, and I mentioned them first. As I said earlier, they're the only common opponent between these two. And to see number 3 Howland Christian, number 5 Hamilton both take down Spring Lake is, I think, really indicative of where these two programs are. But then, you've got your standard lineup of Division III powerhouses. East Grand Rapids, ranked number 1 right now. We've got Cranbrook coming in second. In between Howland Christian and Hamilton is Mason.
Oh,
A little bit of Central Michigan action. Always good to see. And then right behind Hamilton, 6th is Grand Rapids Christian. Then we got Pinckney in 7th, Spring Lake in 8th, Milan in 9th, and Country Day in 10th.
Oh, Mason and Pinckney. Those are some new names in that top 10 list for D3. All right, we're beginning diving here. So this is Barrett Huffman for Howland Christian. All right, so each of these divers are going to do 6 dives total. We've got a number for each team. The top 3 from each are able to score. And that was an 18.4 from Huffman. Jeremy Matthews from Hamilton at 24.3. And Josh Rosema for Holland Christian with a 24.8. And typically as we go, we're going to get towards the end of each round, we're going to get to those top divers from each team. So we should see those single dive scores continue to go up as we go through our first round.
Hamilton's Cam Brown here listed exhibition for the night, but with a top time or top score, I should say, of 160 on the season, that's good enough to score in a lot of dual meets.
Yeah, and plenty of dual meets that would score for a lot of teams. And that's I think Steve Vanderwedge at Hamilton has consistently had a solid program. Has he been there as long as Eric has?
Oh, that's a good question. Someone in the chat, correct us. Henry Skipper there with a 301C. Total award 26.4.
Now, I believe, speaking of diving, you have had a history of being on the board a little.
You know, teamwork takes a lot of things, Ben, and you know, you just got to do what you got to do to get the W.
That is right.
Real good passer there. Apologize, I missed his total score. Sam Nightcamp here, 301C, degree in difficulty 1.6.
Yep, this is Holland Christian's top diver, a junior. You can also find him on YouTube. He does a bunch of tramp stuff, hence his translation to the diving board. That's a 21.6 for Sam.
Quentin Byer here, 302C. We'll be doing a full rotation, or a full somersault, excuse me. $23.2 total award. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Ethan will be the last diver for this round.
Yes, I believe so.
Henry Skipper still hanging on to that lead in the first round, 26.4. Let's see what Ethan has. $31.5 for Ethan there to take the lead round. The round lead, I should say, excuse me. Back to Barrett Huffman here, 301A. Same dive as we just saw from Ethan. $15.3 for Barrett there. Jeremy Matthews, 105C. We've got a 2.5 here, Ben. Come out.
Here we go.
Nice. $37.2 there.
There we go. Highest DD dive we've seen so far. They start getting into some of their more normal lists.
Man, he ripped that one. So we'll see what Ethan has, but certainly Jeremy's setting himself apart at the moment. Josh Rosema, 302C. 52.8 total award, 45-6 through 2 rounds.
Cam Brown up next.
First twisting dive we've seen of the night.
Mm-hmm. So 34.5. Just short on those rotations there for Henry at 22 for his total score.
Got our first twist. Now we're going to have our first pike. Just a little bit over rotation.
We're over. Could have gone 2.5.
Sure just heard that a time or two from Coach Vandeweghe there.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything diving coaches love, it's one more half rotation.
Always keep bumping that up. Sam, 24-15, total at 45.75.
Nice dive out of Quentin Byer there. 34-6 total award. He's sitting at 57.8. Just out of reach of that top spot, but competitive. There's Ethan with the reverse 1.5 somersault.
Our first reverse so far.
36 total
There we
award,
go.
67.5 to take the lead.
So that's, I think, Hamilton in the top 3 spots right now after 2 rounds.
I'm glad you're writing them down. Barrett there with the back somersault. 13.5 total award. He's 47.2 through 3 rounds. Jeremy's up now with the back 2 somersaults in the tuck position, 2.0 difficulty. Just a hair short there. Overall, great dive. 29.0 total award. He's at 90.5 and the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, maintains that top spot. Or retakes it over Ethan, I should say.
Well, it's definitely got to be fun to watch them in practice every day.
Yeah, those are 3 that can pretty well go at it and challenge each other.
Josh with the back straight dive there. 22.1 total award. Yeah, Ben, I think we both know that some of the craziest stuff that divers pull off is in practice.
Very true.
They love to push each other, see how much crazier they can get. But it does nothing but make their performances better when it comes time for competition.
That's very true. Some of the best things to watch are blooper reels from films from practice of trying to do that extra rotation or that extra twist.
Cam Brown there with a nice 40.7 on that somersault. Yeah, I mean, it makes, excuse me, Cam's was a double, 2 somersaults. You know, the crazy stuff in practice equates to making what looks difficult tonight that much easier, because it's nothing compared to what they've been smacking in practice.
For sure.
And her skipper there with the nice inward 1.5 somersault. 2.2 difficulty on that, 31.9 total score.
Yep. 80.3 halfway through. That's over half of his best so far.
Will Goodpaster here with the 2.5 somersaults. 38.4 total award, brings him to 90.7 through 3 rounds. Same with the back 1.5 somersault coming up.
And the straight position. .7 for Sam there. Quentin Byers up next, forward 2.5 somersault in the tuck position, 2.4 difficulty. Nice dive for Quentin there. Let's see how close he gets to Cam.
33.6 total award there. About 8.5 points out of the lead.
And last dive of round 3 is Ethan Shelton, forward 2.5 somersaults in the pike position. Clean dive from
Nicely
Ethan.
done.
That should put him over 100 mark for sure. Yep, 45.5 for his score, 113 is his total after 3. So we are halfway through diving.
It's one of those instances where that practice talk certainly pays off there. Made that 2.5 look easy. Do a triple even.
And those Hamilton divers in those top spots have kind of all taken their turn being up there. You got Ethan Cam Brown, Goodpaster, Matthews, and Ethan.
Jeremy with a nice inward double. 46.2 total.
That's a nice dive there.
He takes the lead after past halfway at 136.7.
Josh is up next with an inward 1.5 in the tuck position.
.5 for Josh there. We'll see the same out of Cam here. Inward 1.5 somersault tuck. Scary dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cam's not scared.
Those inwards, the better you get, the closer you get to the board,
Absolutely.
and the scarier it is to watch.
29-7 total award for him, bringing him to 80.3. Oh, excuse me, that's Henry's score. I missed Cam's. But he's doing great. We're proud of him. Henry pulls off the forward 1.5 somersault easily.
Good control and pike, 26.35.
Will's next dive is a 203B.
Will be performing the back 1.5 somersault in the pike position. 2.3 difficulty here. Time to rack up some points. Nicely done. .33 total score. 124.0.
Interesting for some of these, especially Jeremy Matthews from Hamilton. He's another one of those that this could be his first year at a state meet as a sophomore.
Absolutely.
Here's Sam with an inward 1.5 somersault in a pike position. Clean dive for Sam. It's 48 points, puts him at 127.50.
Clemson's next dive will be a 51-24D.
Two full twists on that dive at 27.6. I think at 119.05.
Ethan's next dive is a 403B.
And Ethan to end round 4 here is inward 1.5 somersault in the pike position. Same dive that Sam just did. And we'll look for him to retake his lead here, and he does. 153.80 through 4.
Barrett's fifth dive will be a 103C.
Barrett with the forward 1.5 somersault. Total award 16.8.
Sneaking up on his high score for the season of 96.3. One dive to go.
That away you, Barrett.
Should note, have you been here since the Aquatic Center got their new 3-meter platform?
I have not. Looks nice.
Pretty nice.
Lots of facelifts and additions around here lately. Exciting for the community of Holland for sure.
That's Jeremy Matthews, 37.95. He's in the lead now at 174.65. But for sure, lots of additions here. Todd sent me a picture yesterday from the instructional pool, and there's actually windows going in there now.
Oh,
So there's natural light in the instructional pool.
Rosema with the double there, 27.5. Windows in the instructional pool. That sounds great.
Natural light.
Man,
I didn't even recognize it as being a pool that I knew from the pictures.
how are you supposed to know you're diving in at 5:30 in the morning if you can't see the darkness outside?
Yeah.
Cam
here making the simple look elegant. That back straight dive, 26.3.
6.35. Henry's next dive will be a 104C.
Henry here with the forward double, tuck position. Nice dive out of Henry there.
Nice.
And then you see a lot of the same dives from a lot of the athletes. What you don't see is them all performing them at the same time. So it makes that roller coaster of points and swings all that more interesting to me.
And that's Henry after his 5th dive, only 4 points off of his season best so far. That's good for him. He's a good passer. 29.70 for that inward 1.5. That puts him in 153. And this is Holland Christian's top diver in Sam, an inward 2.5 in the tuck position.
Man, that's a crazy dive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Face just spinning towards that board.
Sorry, Mom and Dad. Nice.
There's getting those rotations in. It's a 3.1 DD that's 37.20 out of Sam. And I'm just, after you mentioned that about the parents, I'm looking at that camera down there on the far side of the diving boards. I don't know if that angle is good or bad from where they're standing.
It does put the diving board in a prominent position.
Yeah.
Perspective issues there, yeah. He rocked it. No need for concern. Quentin Byer here, back 1.5 somersault in the pike. Nice. 32.2 total award. Jeremy Matthews still sitting on top, 174.6. Here comes Ethan Shelton.
Back 1.5. 1.5 twists.
A little bit of everything.
Oh, clean.
There's the dive in the meet so far.
Look at that. Clear.
50.0 total award.
Clears 200 after the 5th round. I think Ethan is in control here.
Barry here with the forward somersault and half twist. Nicely executed.
There he goes. Clears 100 for the first time. Nice job, Barrett.
And that hair has got to be at least at a 120.
That's right. Oh.
Jeremy Matthews looks to retain his lead over Ethan. Back 1 somersault with 2.5 twists. It's a lot of twisting.
He gets around.
Yep.
45.90. Nice last dive for Matthews. That's a 220.5 for him.
Just 9 points off his season best. Great job, Jeremy.
Right there. This is Josh forward 1 somersault and 1 twist. His final dive. 149.30.
Really saved it at the end there, locked in tight on his entry position.
Yeah.
Looked like he potentially could have over-rotated. He said, nah, not today.
Nope, and he's just off his best too, about 5 points. There's Cam.
Ends on a good one.
Nice controlled 1.5 in the pike position.
28.9 there to end his day at 184.9.
That looks like a
is
significant
24
improvement.
points north of his season best. Nice job, Cam. Henry finishes there with a forward somersault with a twist. 16.15. His night ends at 162.4.
That's another best by 12 points, so he's inching up there.
It's the fun part about diving for sure. The swimming, you get lost in the grind of training and the times maybe slow down, but divers, they just keep improving week after week.
Yeah, you can make consistent progress in those scores. Nothing DD. Will Paster's last dive, or Will Goodpaster's last dive.
34-1 for Will. Ends the night at 187.
Just below his season best of 193. And we're into our last couple here. So here's Sam, forward 2.5 in the pike position.
Remind me of his best.
Sam's best is a 2:37.30.
Okay. Ends on a good one.
Solid. 2.5 in the pike is lots to get around. 41.6, that's a 2:06.30 for Sam.
Clinton's last dive is a 51.32D.
Quentin Byer's going to need about a 51 here to break his season best. Oh, it was good. It was a good one. 38.5.
Oh, just
Give him a 7 official. Come on.
a couple Hamilton divers going to be really close right there. It looks like Sam probably has third locked up. And our last dive here from Ethan, an inward 2 somersaults in the tuck position.
Says, sorry, Jeremy.
Taking
I'll
over.
take that. 51.8. Nice job, Ethan.
2:55.60 for Ethan. So that's Ethan in first place, Matthews in second, and Sam for Holland Christian in third. So that ends diving. I believe there's going to be a little warm-up. So we might take a slight break here and then come back to the action for the 100 butterfly. All right, we're back, folks. It is just before the start of the 100 butterfly. They just announced diving. As we had said, it went Shelton, Matthews, and Nykamp for the top 3 there. And Matt, do you have scores pulled up? Have they included that diving in there yet? We could probably do the math if we really needed to, but
Looks like we're still waiting on it.
but
But I'll let the math teacher do the number crunching.
that's going to be advantage Hamilton. I mean, that's going to be 12 points for Hamilton to Holland Christian's 4. So that's going to be a good swing there. It looks like Holland Christian has some ground to make up coming out of diving. So we're about to start the 100 fly. Blake Osink is going against Buchel for Hamilton in the middle of the pool there.
Well, you know, this seems to be an interesting one for Holland Christian. Obviously, Osink, one of the best flyers in the state. I believe he's 6th right now in the 100 fly in D3. Followed up by Koning there, who isn't too far behind. You know, he was 56.4 last year at the OK Green meet. I think he's 12th in D3 right now.
Yeah.
Not to be outdone though. You know, Lewis is his 56.5 right now is 10th. So really, you know, while we'd like to see the battle in the middle of the pool, lanes 4 and 5, I'd watch Koning here, going for that 2nd place.
And you've got Elliot Talsma out there a little ways back from Koning, but he had a strong first 50 in his IM earlier. So it'll be interesting to see what he goes out as well.
Yeah, you know, on paper he's the 7th fastest returner in the OK Green, but given that IM, you know, who knows what we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Came ready to race. And I think that is worth noting for both teams right now. Hamilton, you know, obviously a little bit probably bigger lead than anticipated on paper, but both teams are racing with a lot of heart tonight, a lot of good times.
And it looks we've still got a couple of people warming up, so this break might be a little longer than we thought.
All the accommodations to make sure all of our athletes are safe, and of course we have MLA practicing right now too, so only so much space, and so let's give our athletes enough time to warm up and be safe at the same time. We'll take a little bit longer break.
For sure, and those changes are going to be seen at the state meet later too. I believe for girls they went with timed finals instead of a 2-day meet, and took plenty of breaks in between. So just more of the differences that we see this year as we make sure we can still compete, but do it in a good and safe way.
Now Division III right back here at the Holland Aquatic Center.
Yeah, and just over a month. I believe 2 people we know well are going to help run it.
Of course, diving will be Friday night in Hamilton, and then the Stormers will come over here Saturday morning.
Yep, for just purely timed finals. So it is one and done for those swims. So a little different preparation for those athletes as they get ready for state in about a month here. A little later than usual, so that typically kind of the 2nd full week in March, but now it's going to be right before their spring break for their shortened season. Well, looks like we're ready to roll here for the 100 fly. So back to the swimming action. All right, we'll see what this brings. So we've got the 100 butterfly. They are off.
Michelle cranking out the underwater here a bit more.
Long underwater, getting out there.
Wanting to get up on top and start racing. 2 different strategies.
It looks like Blake's out front. Koning is coming along strong there, just behind Lewis. And then you've got Talsma back there in 4th. So at the wall, that's Osink with the 25.6. Lewis with a 26.8, and Koning, and Elliot Talsma was just up there, 27.9.
I'll call attention to the outside race here, too. We've got a 30.3 versus 30.4.
Yeah, and Bauman and Clausen.
Fun little race.
And here they come. Koning's coming on a little bit. We'll see. Don't know if he can quite catch Lewis, but looks like Ossink has a solid swim going 54.62. That is a good time for Blake, season best. So they do, Holland Christian does go 1:35 with Bauman getting in there with a 1:03.88. That's about 4-second drop for Quinton there.
They certainly needed it. That'll be a nice little swing after that diving.
Well, for sure. Elliot Talsma just off his best, and another best time for Clausen as well. So we've got 2 heats of the 100 freestyle coming up. First heat is exhibition for Holland Christian. You've got Van Heitzma. And for Hamilton, you've got Hernandez, Crocker, and Vandermeulen, 3 freshmen. Our exhibition heat is off. Looks like Hernandez is out front for Hamilton here.
A little glimpse into what to expect at the D3 meet. That time was a season best for Blake. A really solid swim, and it still puts him at 6th in Division 3 for the 100 fly. So real deep year.
Yeah, that's a strong event for Division 3.
Of course, one of those spots occupied by his teammate Colin Kaufman.
Colin has, I think, a number of top times up there. So.
Must be nice to be able to swim whatever you want.
and be in the top 8 for most of them. Wasn't quite my experience in high school. And after that 100 fly, it looks like the score is Hamilton 51 and Holland Christian 43. So making up a little ground there, but Holland Christian has a ways to go.
Every little bit counts, though.
That is true. In that exhibition heat, Hernandez touches first with a 1:00.18. That's the best time for him.
And he's one of those examples that, we mentioned earlier, been getting better every week. That he's the same. He was his best for last week, and now he tops it again.
For sure, and same with Crocker. And Vandermeulen. Here's our scoring heat. So in the middle, this is where Kalkman and Cole Nybor are going to go after it. But we got Zachary Bohm again. He was on the end of that medley relay. And then Aiden Hollebeek for Holland Christian in those 3 and 4 spots.
It's our first individual appearance by Colin Kalkman, 100 free here. He's currently 2nd in Division 3. Runner-up last year at the OK Green Meet behind his teammate, Ben Catton. No, Ben Catton.
And here we go. And again, that 4, 5, 6 race is going to be tight too. We've got Corbin Vandenbrink for Holland Christian and Will Langelin for Hamilton out there. So, looks like Colin is out front, and Hamilton is taking the next 3 spots there.
Tight spot for forward.
23.3 for Kalkman on his out, and Cole is at 23.9 just behind, and then 24.7 for Bohm. Colin looks like he's going to maintain his lead. And it's going to be close for that 4th spot. We'll see if Corbin Vandenbrink can come on here. But otherwise, it could be 2-3-4 for Hamilton. So that's a 48.3 for Colin. Cole with a season best time of 50.22. And nice drop for Zach and Gill as well. It looks like Corbin is 5th and Aiden Hollebeek is 6th.
So Hamilton leaning on that depth a bit.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
Here we go with that back and forth. Start with the 100 fly, and now here with the 100 free. Worth noting for Nybor there, 50.2 equals his best all the way back from 2019.
Does it really?
Yep. Didn't have a chance to swim it obviously last year at state, so great to see him in this spot this year.
Yeah, that's a nice swim for Nybor at senior. It's 500. Joey Grassman, who won the 200. It has the top time here of a 5:02.64, and then you've got Hollbeek and DeBoer for Holland Christian next to him. For Hamilton, it's Stuttler, Klingenberg, and Trey Nybor. And again, some of those spots in that 2, 3, 4 section is going to be tight for Holland Christian. Joey should have it pretty locked up for first. But we'll see what Heath can bring him to begin, and maybe he can get pulled along to a nice time there. It is Heath and Grassman out front early.
Now, was Heath suited for the 200 freestyle? Did he have a tech suit on?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but maybe a little bit more inspiration for him here, going up against the OK Green defending champion.
Yeah, and he's hanging out pretty well for that start. Joey's out in a 53.9, and Heath at a 55.4.
Both well under the 5-minute pace here.
For sure, and right now you've got Hollbeek and Sam DeBoer hanging in there for third and fourth for Holland Christian. We'll see what they can hang on to there. Yep, and that's Grassman going to Hope next year, right?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Nice pickup for the Dutchman.
Staying in town.
So we've got we got our first place and our third place from last year. Second place, whose name is escaping right now, all I remember is that person is back as well. So a pretty experienced group at the top of the 500 for the OK Green.
Nice. That should be a fun meet. Where is that? Is that going to be at Zeeland?
I don't know.
I don't know either. At the 200 mark, Grassman maintains that lead, 153.3 for him. But Heath hanging on, 157.9. Both of them staying under that 5-minute mark. He's creeping up in splits, 31.6. It looks like Joey's just going to command that. And out there in lanes 2 and 3, Hollbeek and Sam DeBoer, similar splits, coming in at about a 2:10. But we'll see what Klingenberg can do in that last 250. So at the halfway mark, there's Joey, 224.16. And he's hanging even with the splits, 229.61. And Sam and Teddy, 244, 245, and Klingenberg, 252. So hanging back there, I think they're pretty safe there in those 3rd and 4 spots.
Seeing the pace fall off a little bit here under combination of fatigue, but also just knowing that he's got it wrapped up.
Yeah.
Other work to do before the night's over.
Those last 2 relays, I believe Joey's going to be on both of those. So he might be able to ease off a little bit here, though. It is tricky, especially this race. You might be able to speak to this more than me as a former 500 swimmer, but I know, do you feel getting to swim that less this year? I think Joey hasn't swam that in the past 2 weeks. And with less meets, do you think that plays a part in his races to state? Do you think he's experienced enough that that's not going to matter?
Yeah, you look at not only what they're doing in season, but also leading up with club training, etc.
Sure.
To me, it's not necessarily the races that are going to be making the difference. I'm more concerned. What am I doing week in, week out to make sure I'm hitting my goal paces, etc.
True.
Someone as talented as him, he's dialed in. He's going to have a great year.
He's just under the 4-minute mark before the last 100. And at this point has lapped most of the field except for Heath. So he's in his finishing lap, touches at 4:30.04.
Got to get on his horse here.
See if he can sneak under that 5-minute mark. Heath's in at a 4:38.61. Looks like that's going to be a pretty nice swim for Heath. His best is a 5:20.08. So I think he should be well under that for this swim. Joey coming down that last length. Got 5 seconds to get in there. He is going to be under.
Good swim.
4:59.82, swimming out there in front on his own. But this is going to be a nice swim for Heath, too.
Yeah, he's going to blow his seat time out of the water
Oh,
for
by
sure.
about 10 seconds there, going to 5:10.08. Pretty evenly split through that
Absolutely.
last bit. So that's a nice swim for Heath. He should be plenty happy there.
He's another example of an athlete who had their best performances at that 2019 state meet. So never really got the chance last year to show how low under 5 he could go, and certainly he'll repeat under 5 this year. Just questioning how far under.
Yep, and that's a long time between those swims. Teddy just off his best with a 5:38, and that's Sam DeVore coming in with a nice time drop. He had been a 5:56 and dropped about 15 seconds to go a 5:41 for fourth there. So nice swim for Sam. Ethan Klingenberg in there for fifth with a 5:45.13. So that is just under his best for the season. And Trey Nybor coming in here, the freshman, what it looks like might be his first 500. Listed as a no time, so he is a 6:19.
That's the way you want to finish your first 500. Strong,
fast,
kicking. That way you. I'm not scared of a 500. Big sprint relay here, Ben.
It is. These relays are going to make a difference. The relay for Holland Christian is fairly loaded. You got Osink, Vandenbrink, and Grassman there. But Hamilton's got Nybor, Stutler, Nyhoff, and Zach Bohm, and Zach is leading off.
If you're wondering how close this can be, well, both Holland Christian and Hamilton are atop the top 3 in D3. Holland Christian's got that second place spot, and only 0.5 back is Hamilton. So it's going to be not only a great race here, but a great race come the state meet.
For sure, and this is a repeat of the 50 with Osink and Zach Boom going out front.
Nice tight swim there.
Yeah.
Tight race, I should say.
200ths between them. Holland Christian's B is a little back of Hamilton's. We'll see how this turns out. It looks like their second swimmers. Hamilton's taken off a little bit. That's Jackson Nyhoff on David Bursma. I think this is the weak leg for each of those teams. Made up some ground there. So this is Corbin Vandenbrink and Cole Nybor coming in. So Cole looks like he's still got a commanding lead. We'll see what Grassman's got on the end of this, seeing if he can track down Heath Stutler.
Both these boys had a nice little warm-up in the 500.
And here we go. Heath gets a nice lead.
Nice
Joey's
split on
coming in.
Nybor.
22-7 out of Nybor. Holland Christian B has made up some ground on the end here. We've got Teddy Holliday versus Evan Crocker.
Stutler spins through his turn. Grassman gets caught up a little bit there.
Grassman's just going to run out of pool. 134.04 for Hamilton, winning that. And it looks like Crocker from Hamilton gets that third place finish, just touching out Teddy Holliday. So that is a big 1-3 finish in the 200 freestyle relay for Hamilton. Grassman on the end there, outsplits Heath 23-14 to 24-44, but just didn't quite have enough pool.
So it's been back, you know, we see races, it has appeared to be back and forth throughout the night, but after diving, Holland Christian has really been clawing their way back to it's a 4-point meet. After that sprint relay now, Hamilton widens the gap to 10 at 75 to 65, but with 3 races to go, it's anyone's meet still.
For sure, and it looks like this backstroke is going to be close too. There's another race that Colin Kalkman should have an advantage in, and Isaac Beatty is next to him from Hamilton.
Though Kalkman might be the favorite, Beatty is the runner-up last year in the OK Green, so he is he's no stranger to success in this race.
Yep. And those next places are going to be key, too. You got McIntyre and Bushell from Hamilton, both at 106s. Ryan Windemuller's been a 101 for Holland Christian, and then Nathan Benjelink's a 107.9. So that's going to be some tight spots again. The 50, pretty close there, 27-1 to 27-32. Colin just ahead of Beatty, and Ryan Windemuller's in there third, 29-71. It looks like the next two from Hamilton
A little long on the turn. Sorry, bud.
are both in there for 56.
Despite being a little bit long, that turning underwater kind of made the race the difference there for Kalkman. It's going to be a good time for both.
Yeah, 55-47 for Kalkman, 56-34 for Beatty. Windemuller's in there with a 101.8. Oh, and Nathan Benjelink sneaks in there for fifth, 106.80. Best time for him, just ahead of Bushell. And McIntyre's in there for fourth with a 106.00.
And the winner of the 100-yard backstroke with a time of 55:47 in lane 4 from Holland Christian, Colin Kalkman.
All right.
Next event is the 100-yard
100 breaststroke. See Christian Hooksma again. We haven't seen him since the 200 IM. And then Jackson Horgis are the top two for Holland Christian. Right there with him is Blake Thomas from Hamilton. So those
Should
guys.
be a fun one.
Yeah, 102, 103, 104. That's going to be a good race.
This is the race where, Holland Christian wants it. This is the time to do it.
I do know that swim for Horgis was suited with his best time of a 102.85, so we'll see what he does here. Looks like he's first at the wall, and Christian is second. And this is one of those.
Looks like Hooksman may have lost his goggles.
Yeah, I think, his goggles are indeed down, and he's hanging right in there.
Better the breaststroke than the freestyle, Ben.
That is for sure. And it's just, I was going to say, it's interesting just watching the top three here. Breaststroke is one of those where their styles can be so vastly different. If you look at Hooksma versus Horgis versus Lake.
Look, touched first at the 75. He's pulling away.
Goggleless. He is pulling on here. We'll see if Horgis can maybe get a touch out. Oh, this is going to be anyone's. Hooksma, Thomas, and Horgis, 104, 105, 106.
What a great race. Now that, as you mentioned, these different styles of breaststroke, that one came down to that nice long reach that Hooksma has, as opposed to Blake Thomas's attack of the water a little bit more and a little bit more turnover. That made the difference there, that last stroke.
Yeah, Thomas can just hang on to that turnover. And again, done with Christian losing his goggles.
Our last event of the evening is the 400-yard freestyle relay. There will be one heat.
And as we enter the final race of the evening, we've got Hamilton 87, Holland Christian 85.
Two points there. Yeah, here we go. 400 freestyle relays are in the water. There's only two for Holland Christian, an A and a B, and those are going to matter, folks. I think if Holland Christian wins and Hamilton goes 2-3, is that a tie, Matt?
I believe that's a tie, Ben. And right now, the Holland Christian B out to a strong lead versus the Hamilton B. So if they hang on to this lead, it's going to be Holland Christian's meet.
Yeah, it's going to come down to... might come down to those A's. Looks like Holland Christian has the edge to start. That is a 52-27 for Holland Christian and 52-41. And Holland Christian's B is in third right now. So in the water for these two teams, for their second swimmers, that's going to be Grassman and Stutler. So we will see if they can hang on, but Hamilton's B is coming back.
Yep. You think those two are sick of each other yet?
Oh, that's 3 races pretty close in a row that they've been next to each other. This time Joey gets the little edge to start. But we'll see where this goes. Looks like he's pulling away a little bit, but Hamilton's B is coming on there.
It's going to be huge.
So at the halfway point, looks like Holland Christian has the edge. Next in for Holland Christian is going to be Christian Hooksma, who just came out of the breaststroke. And then that's Elliot Talsma from Hamilton.
Well, this one will be interesting for sure, having Hooksma in the breaststroke, but he's done it before.
Yep, and Elliot looks like he's going to hang on that lane line right next to Christian.
Or circle swim, either way.
Oh, and that
And B
third
has
swimmer
pulled ahead
for
for
Hamilton. Oh, that is going to make a difference.
Yep.
This is Sam DeVore and Carson McIntyre going at it on the B's. Looks like Sam's coming on a little bit there.
Meanwhile, Talsma
Has
that
come back
breaststroke
on
is
Christian.
starting to show itself for Hooksma.
Oh, on the end here, we're going to have Bichelle and Kalkman, and it is going to be pretty down to the wire with these third swimmers coming in. And here we go, folks. Last 100, they are just over a tenth, 17 hundredths.
Credit to Hooksma there on that last 25. It looked like Talsma was going to pull away, and he hung on really well.
He was coming back, and this is Nathan Benjelink and Louis Bichelle for...
Meanwhile, only .04 separated the B relays at the exchange, with Holland Christian having the slight lead, but now Hamilton's pulling away.
Yeah, Bichelle is pulling away here. So Kalkman is out front for those A's.
Yep, they're going to wrap that up, first place.
Looks like we are
We're
going
gonna
to
have a tie ball
have
game
a
there, Ben.
tie, folks. Kalkman comes in. They finish in a 3:32.84, and Hamilton's a 3:36.7. But with the B relays, this is Bichelle. Hamilton's B finishes in a 3:44.53. And Benjelink touches for Holland Christian's B in a 3:50.48. And coming in here for Hamilton's C, that is Matthew Beatty. And then we will await some official final scores.
Can't get much more exciting for free live streams, that's for sure.
There you go.
Tie ball game. You know, Ben, as they announce these relay results, I think about, looking ahead for Holland Christian next week with Zeeland.
Yeah.
And, that tie that Hamilton just gave them, that has serious implications on the final rankings at the end of the season.
It does for sure.
And I have the score for the meet. Holland Christian 93, Hamilton 93.
It is officially a tie for senior night here for the Maroons and the Hawkeyes. And that is a wrap, folks. So next week, I know Holland Christian is headed to Zeeland. That's going to kind of be the final big showdown in the OK Green before heading to the conference meet. That's at Zeeland. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out and how that plays into implications for the OK Green season here.
Yeah, two teams that have gone back and forth, not only dual meets, but in the championship meet as well. A lot of ups and downs for both teams there. And, of course, the last time that Holland Christian and Zeeland will see each other for this year, as Zeeland will head to the Division I meet, while Holland Christian and Hamilton will head to the D3 meet. So lots of excitement still to go in this season, but like the last few years, it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's been close between those two. It's always fun to watch the OK Green. So thanks for tuning in tonight, folks. Look forward to seeing where these teams go in the last little bit, and have a good rest of your Tuesday.